Welcome to Family Gamer TV. Now today we've got something rather special for you, a complete playthrough of the Winter's Keep level from Gamescom. We were at the show and we had a chance not only to speak to developers but also to go hands-on with the game. So as we get started, you'll see that we set out on this part of the adventure as being told about the illuminator that protects and keeps and gives all elves courage. And so we're helping the elves here and we need to get the illuminator on our side. With that, the Cyclops enemies that we're going to be facing shouldn't stand too much of a chance. So as we just get our menu set up, we need to go and defend the North Wall. And here we've chosen to play Washbuckler. As you can see, he has his charge attack on the bottom, heading over Blizzard Bridge. Now, to begin with, just need to avoid these incoming sort of support fire that's being thrown at us from off-screen. And we encounter the first of these enemies, a Cyclops Sleep Thrower. Now, I like the way that these are introduced, and as you can see, the sort of the Pixar animation here is really sort of popping out. Now, we're playing this on PS3. We'll be having a look at the PS4 version as well, as which we had our hands on too at the show. Now, Washbuckler doesn't have a massive trouble apart from getting the odd hit, dispatching these Sleep Thrower enemies. Now, he is up to level 7, so you know he's relatively strong. What we want to do is have a look at some different Skylanders. So why don't we maybe pull on a different combination? So we've got Rattle Shake here. So we're going to have a look at Wash Shakes. That's Washbuckler's top half and Rattle Shake's bottom half. Now, of course, this gives him a different sort of feel to movement. Now, the interesting thing is that it's not a matter of sort of just mixing and matching the sort of the attacks and the way to get around the arena, but also the way they actually move when you actually are controlling them is different. Now, this is because all the players have this thing called procedural animation. So rather than just being locked in and having to move the same way, one half of the figure will affect the other. So as you can see, Washbuckler's top half here is behaving much more like a snake. So there we go. We've dispatched that enemy gate, and we're going to head on, just to make sure we've got everything in this level. Now, as we collect this story scroll, I think what we'll do is pop on and maybe just mix and match a different Swap Force combination. So as we're reading through that, you'll see that the portal realises we've made the switch, and we have the opposite combo that we were just looking at, which is Rattle Buckler. Now I'm sort of getting used to some of these names now. So that's Rattle Shake's top half and Washbuckler's bottom half. Now you can see here, it's the top half which determines our stats. So he's level 6, and you can see his money. Because we switched the top half now, that's different than it was before when we had Washbuckler's top half on. Now, I don't think we're going to have a look at this Swap Force thing. So what I'd like to do is just really just sort of press on and try out some different characters. Now, Countdown, as we just got on the portal here, is a character that I've really enjoyed being introduced to, and I just love this sort of the comedic element, but also a little bit like Trigger Happy. He can really fire missiles as quickly as you can press the button. He can also throw his head off there and have a sort of an area effect as that hits the enemy. So we're going to sort of press on through this level. So you can see there the right 2 trigger popping up. Now that's because we're playing on the PlayStation 3 version. The same would be true on the PS4. Now if our reporter had pressed that button when he was near that horn, that would have triggered that event, and I think that would get him across to that other area, that other sort of island on the right there. But maybe not quite enough experience of playing Skylanders. But he decides to press on through the level, and again, you need to avoid those incoming snowballs because they do cause quite a bit of effect. So here we're on the countdown. He's up to level 10, so that's quite a powered up character. In Skylanders Swap Force, we'll be able to get them up to level 20, and that's true for all your old Skylanders as well as your new ones. So pressing on, that's the gate we just opened earlier by destroying all the enemies. And again, you can see Countdown rolling his head ahead of him. Now, as we come through here, we hit another Cyclops enemy, Twistic Cyclops attacks. Now we'll see how he attacks them, because he has got they've got a shield. So if you attack from the front while they're paying attention, then they're vulnerable. Now here you can see that although he's not trying to get around the back, he's still making relatively short work of them, and he's not used the trick that we saw earlier, which is if you stand between them and jump or move out of the way, they'll actually attack each other. So as he's progressing through, I think, Countdown's, losing more energy than maybe he'd need to. And that's part of what I like about Skylanders Swap Force, is that you really can play it your own way. So here, our player is just really going head to head, focusing on just getting the enemies out of the way. Route 1 using his missiles, and he seems to be enjoying playing Countdown and will maybe stick with it for a while. As we head up this snowy slope, again you can see the incoming projectiles. He seems to be throwing boxes and other things at us. And as you approach that elemental gate there, again you'd have to trigger that. The whole world changes to match the elemental power, which I quite like the effect on the PlayStation 3. So, I mean, as we're looking at this, let's have a look at different Skylanders. And of course, one we're quite excited about is the Series 3 Mega Ram Spyro. And that's quite interesting because we're looking at the third iteration of the Spyro figure. Now, so it came back as a Series 2 and had a special WoW PAL. In Series 3, the figure itself is granted a name that represents its new WoW PAL. So, here we meet Duff. Man the catapult and take out that blizzard. So we need to go over the catapult, and we'll be pulling a trigger, and that will launch one of the new mini games where we are. Our player is obviously just slightly distracted, but I don't think he'll be able to progress until he gets over that catapult and pulls the trigger. So it'll be interesting to see how long it takes him. New players aren't necessarily going to know or read all the signs that we're used to as being more experienced with these games. But as I was saying, this catapult mode, which I think he's going to have to trigger sooner or later, is something that they're introducing to Swap Force. So we had a few of them in Giants, but they've really gone to town in these little mini games. So here you have something that's a little bit like Angry Birds. So you hold the square button, and the longer you hold it, the further it gets pulled back, and you let go, and then the projectile is fired over to this battleship. Now you have to get that bang on as it moves away. So now he's going to have to hold it for longer if he's going to reach. Again, you have this sort of like projectile gameplay like Angry Birds, and I like the way that they're expanding Skylanders Swap Force to include a wider variety of gameplay. And I think they need to do that, as Disney Infinity offers a much wider range of different play styles via its play sets. So I don't know if you're a fan of Disney Infinity as well as Skylanders, but I think it's going to be interesting to see as we get towards Christmas. And people are making a decision, if you can't afford both, which one will you buy? So here we go, we are riding the Aurora rails. Now again, this is another different bit of gameplay, and the key here is to try and be on the part of the rail where all the money is, while avoiding enemies. So he's got an enemy on his tail there. I'm not sure if that's going to be a help or a hindrance, and this takes him over to the next area of the level. But to get there, you have to jump between rails to ensure that you can collect all the coins, and also obviously you need to avoid those snowballs, which he's not doing hugely well. So, and as the Aurora rails take us round, we also have more of this catapult technique as we take on more of these sort of flying dreadnoughts. So we can see there Mega Ram Spyro up to level 6, and you see his gold increasing. Again, you'll be able to spend those, and you get all the different branching upgrades that Spyro had. So here we get to Frosty Elf. If you can find something to dig up all this snow, then we'll have it out the way in no time. So you can see either side of the screen there, these big boulders really of snow, and we can't progress either left or right until we get them out of the way. Now the thing to do is to go in here, and we'll have a little puzzle area where we need to find the snow Excalibur. So this is a little bit like the Excalibur story of the sort of Knights of the Round Table. Now the question is, are we worthy enough to pull it out? Well, with the simple press of the square button, we do prove our worth and get that out, and that means we can go back out to the level outside and get rid of that snow. Now I like the way this is done. Again, it's just a simple button press, but keen to again switch the Skylanders. Let's get another one on. So I'm interested to see who he's picked. Oh, we're back to the default Rattle Shakes. That's quite nice to see him in his sort of native form. He has his snake gun attack. So here we go. We're using the right trigger to dig up these lumps of snow, and on the right there you can see there's some optional areas to go, but it's on the left here which we really need to do to progress. Using the right 2 trigger, again obviously that would be different if you're on the Xbox. It would be maybe one of the bumpers or one of the triggers there, or on the Wii or Wii U, and I'm interested to see how the Wii U compares. So here we go. We're going to need a speed Swap Force character if he's going to attempt that Swap Force zone. So I think he's deciding, actually, what we need to do is to progress with the level. So has he got rid of all the snow? He's got some snow on the right there. He hasn't got his shovel anymore, so I'm not sure if that means he needs to go back and get it again. So, you know, I think it's interesting to see someone playing this who hasn't played it a lot, and is just trying to figure out how to progress. So it's come back here. Oh yeah, of course the shovel's gone. So we're going to go back outside, down the slope. Oh, I see the shovel's waiting for us there, so he can go over now and get rid of the remaining bits of snow. Now I didn't think that the bit on the right was the way you progressed, but there's a nice bunch of treasure there. Oh, I see, of course. So that reveals the key, and as we know in Skylanders, you find a key, you can open a gate. If you press the right 2 trigger, that opens, and we can head over the bridge, and we meet another enemy. Nice, evilized snow roller. So these, again, a sort of comedic introduction. Who threw that snowball? It wasn't him. So these ones, they roll a little bit like sort of pill bugs or wood lice. The interesting thing is, once they've done that, as we see here, if you stand up on a platform, you're relatively safe. Sort of a bit like Daleks. They're absolutely deadly unless you get up some stairs, and then so we can see Rattlesnake just chipping away their energy there. And I like the way that every time you hit them, you can see in detail what how many hits you're doing, and you can see how much damage you're taking as well. So there's a real sense of the sort of roleplay element there. So Rattlesnake makes relatively short work of them. That's all of them done, and it looks like the gate has opened. It was a battle gate, leaving that money lying there. Now I wouldn't be doing that if I was playing at home. I would be going through methodically picking up all the money. So here we are, we've got a frozen curtain. You can use the right trigger to turn around this laser and melt the ice, and then pick up the key. Now will we go down to see what's down here? See another Swap Force zone. Now each of these zones you can see have a hexagonal logo on them. You'd need a teleporter there, like someone like Hoot Loop, and that would be the Swap Force Skylander you'd need to enter that zone. These are optional though, so you don't need those Skylanders to finish the game. You know, out of the starter pack, you can get through absolutely everything. Well, in terms of you can get to the end of the game, you may not see everything on the route, but you can get through most of the elements. And if you've got Skylanders of the, you know, from Skylanders Giants or Skylanders Spyro's Adventures, you can use them in this game, and that gives you access to most of the elemental gates. Some of those elemental gates are sort of dual elements, so you need a combination, but that means you can either use a Swap Force figure that has a top and bottom that matches those elements, or you can do it in co-op. There's a nice sort of co-op feature where you get the right levels on the right elements on there. And as you see, I'm slightly distracted there, we're up to level 7, and you can see that really makes a big deal of that as the character gets bigger, and they have a big level 7 in their area. So we've managed to get through this level, and we're going to press on now. Looks like we're in for a swap. Now once this cutscene has finished, the portal will realise that we've switched Skylanders and will move us on to the next figure. But you can see here the ice working its way up the tower. It's all freezing. So pressing on now. What's the next? For the furnace. So we now need to press through the level. Here again, you're using that laser to melt different elements, holding down the right trigger to rotate it. And I love the way that the whole thing has a sort of real blue sheen, so you can really it gives a real feel of sort of different icy level, and everything's getting colder and colder. And our job in all this is to thaw it out. So here we've got a block puzzle. You can, as you get close to those blocks, you can obviously see which direction you can put them in. But of course, it's slightly different now because you can jump. So not only do you have to get blocks in the right place, but you can also jump over them, jump onto them, and apply all that. So we've freed up the path to the gate, but we're going to need to find a key if we're going to get through there. But so there you go, you can jump up, and by moving that block into the right place, that meant we could use the jumping to get up to the top. Now obviously in Skylanders Giants or Swap Force, that type of puzzle just wasn't possible because you couldn't jump. It's quite nice, it adds another layer, and you can actually feel a bit more connected to the environment. It's not so restrictive in terms of where you can go. So here we are, lots of treasure to collect, and is there an enemy hiding in that? Was that probably a friend? We think we've just freed a friend there. We're going to talk to him. Looks like he's not got a lot to say. You see Washbuckler is a water element, and in this zone it's saying the water elements are stronger, so he's getting a boost both to his attack and other stats. Again, there's a battle gate there in the background, so once we've killed all these which look like sort of frost bunnies. I missed the name there. We'll be able to progress through. Washbuckler using his sword attack, close combat. And we've got loads of these raining in, and you can see as some of those damages go up, they're in a little water drop symbol, and that means that they've had that additional attack applied, additional damage applied because we're in that water area. So I think all that sort of feedback is really good in Skylanders Swap Force, because we're really seeing a lot more detail. We can see a lot more of what's going on, so it means you can make a better choice over which Skylander you want to choose. Now, Washbuckler is taking quite a bit of a hammering here. He's going to need to be careful if he's not going to die or fall asleep, as they say in Skylanders. Luckily, he just got some food there, so that boosts him up. So up to level 8. Pick up money as you go. Now, of course, when you're just demonstrating or just trying out these levels, you're not so worried about collecting money. But at home, that's going to be really important, because the more money you have, the more you'll be able to upgrade him. So that's going to be a really key thing. Now, what are we doing here? Oh yeah, so that block enabled us to jump up this tower, get up to the top, and at the top we have a laser, so we can push that off, and that means we'll then be able to melt that block, and in turn we should be able to jump up here. I think he might need to work his way round. So again, just doing a bit of exploring. Push that block over there. Yep, it's the usual sort of block puzzle. That means we can jump up. Oh, I think you need to jump right there. There you go. And then onto there and into the centre. And if we trigger R2, then that is going to clear out the south wall, and we'll have thawed it. So we'll be pressing on to the next part of Winter's Keep. I like the feel of this level. Apparently it comes quite towards the beginning of Skylanders Swap Force, and it gives you a feel for what's to come. It sort of sets out the sense that you're not just fighting on your own, but you're fighting with allies. Here it's the rail section is adding in some jump elements, so not only do you have to be on the right part of the level, but you also have to jump to collect all the coins. And again, the coins are going to be important because you would have lots of money to upgrade your Skylanders. Now, I'd love to hear what your favourite Skylanders are so far, these Swap Force figures. Either combinations, or is it like a default native style? And of the levels you've seen, have you got a particular level? I still like Washbuckler. As I was saying the other day, I really like Driller Griller, Rattle Shake. I think all of them actually are looking really nice. And I like the way that they've each got different stories. So Ice Gear Golem, we met the Fire Gear Golem previously at is it the Gulch level? That was a fighting, and the key to him was to have a distance attack. Now, the Ice Gear Golem is interesting because he's similar, but he's firing ice. Now, Washbuckler is going to be... oh, yeah, well, he did it. So that again, that's Route 1 attack from Washbuckler. Worked really well. He's got some little mini sort of chompy style attacking going on here. I think he's going to have to kill before he moves on. But as I was going to say, each of these enemies, the first time you encounter them, they're at a particular level, and there's a difficulty there. But as you meet them again and again further in the level, they often have been made a bit more difficult, which means you have to sort of think a bit more carefully about how you're going to attack. So let's get our next Skylander on the portal as we press through them. Going to switch back to Countdown because his rockets, I think, will be pretty effective, and they seem to work pretty well in this attack. So Countdown on level 10. He's halfway up in Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. You get to level 10. In Skylanders Giants, all the characters go up to level 15, and in Swap Force, all the characters, even your old ones, can be upgraded to level 20. So it gives you something to do with those old figures as well. So here we are, we're getting on with this thawing out of this sort of ice palace and reclaiming it, so you can see the levels looking warmer again. We're back into sort of warm tones, so we need to get on to the firing the blast furnace so we can really finish off this melting. The snowmen have wandered off and there's no one to make ammo. All is lost like a wee babe in the woods, says Duff. So we press on. We need to get out to the docks to man the catapults because we're under attack there. So as I was saying, you can see the colours that they're doing here. We need to find the snowmen. We've got 2 snowmen to find. Have returned us to sort of a warm look and feel. And that, I like the way that they're using the colour palette, perhaps a bit more as they're moving on to these HD visuals. We're playing this on PS3 and it looks pretty good, but as I can say, the PS4 version, which we'll have a video for pretty soon, looks even better. And I think the level of detail and the level of sort of sheen and polish, and the amount of sort of polygons they're using in each of the different elements, rather than just using sort of a visual canvas, they're actually creating, like, so those stones on the floor there. In the PS3 they're pretty flat, but on the PS4 each individual stone pops up and you can really see it, and it's as if it's got a much more of a presence. So we've completed that sort of Angry Birds catapult. We've got our key, so we're going to head up to the gate, pop the key in with a tap of right 2. Now you can play all this in 2-player. As you can see that the X 2-player join option is there. But you can't play in 4-player, and it's no split screen like Disney Infinity. And I wouldn't suspect if the next Skylanders would either move to split screen or offer a way to play with more players. Now, I'd be interested to hear from you in the comments. Is that something which you think you missed? Would you like to play local multiplayer with more people? And if so, do you think it would work having them all on a shared screen, or do you think they really need to have a split screen? Now, this is what the level's doing. We've met all these different enemies, and it's really now starting to bring them all together to throw them at us at the same time. So we need to use our heads and think, well, how do these different enemies attack, so that we can then use the different weapons and the different Skylanders we've got to more effect. So here we've got our Ice Gear Golem, and we've got the shovel snow throwing enemies, and they're all attacking us at once. So Countdown is looking low on energy, and quite wisely our players decided to switch over to a different Skylander. Now I want to know who it's going to be. Back to Rattle Shake. Now Rattle Shake will return to the level at the point he was, so he won't have full energy, and he's going to have to use his attacks carefully. Oh, well done, he's gone around the back. You can see that there's some strategy happening here, and he's trying to get around the back if these other characters will let him. There you go. So he managed to do that. So I think that's what you need to do. You need to be watching when you're playing Skylanders. You can't just expect to charge through it. Try searching that boat for more of the snowmen. So we haven't found a snowman yet, but we need to find 2. Is that one in the distance? It's got an arrow on him saying 0 of 2 at the minute. There's 2 there, but are they just enemies, or are they snowmen? It looks like the snowmen in the top right. So I think if we dispatch these 2, there you go. We found them both. Now I think they're going to hop off. And I think they're now on our side. You can see these got 3 of these spinning attack monsters. Now this is where you could really, that's it. That was good use of jump there, to have a look. And when they trigger their attack, you can see the direction they're going to go because of that pink arrow. And if you use that, it means you can pretty much stay out of their reach. And Rattle Shake needed to do that because his energy was low. Thankfully, he got some food, so he's back up to halfway now. So here we are, back to the catapults. So we're going to be throwing our snowballs and other items at these battleships, and as they're throwing them at us, you have to get that angle right, and the angle is controlled by how long you hold the square button. It says there, holding release. That's one gone. So we need some lower shots here. Or he's backed off and was going to try and miss us, but I think he almost seemed to put himself into that island. Now, destroy the blizzard beaters. We've done 2 of 3. We've got 1 more to get. So let's head round this level. We've got our key. Ice cream. Quite appropriately on ice level, we've got some ice cream to eat that gives us some more energy. Still on level 7. You can see he's a undead character there on the left, and it's not giving us a bonus here. We've got a puzzle here. Just move that block out of the way, and we can then melt that bit of ice. We're going to have to melt this next bit, and again there should be one in the middle. So I think to do that, because it's slippery, it won't let us put it all the way unless we put the block in the way. And there you go, some classic platform gameplay. Now that was something which our player, who don't think has played Skylanders that much, dealt with pretty easily, because it's a familiar sort of style of gameplay that you would see in any sort of platform game. It's not sort of peculiar to Skylanders. Here we are attacking these pill bug enemies. He's getting a bit hit from behind here. He's not quite sure how to get up there. Managed to get him off the ledge there. That dispatched him. And I think it's a good idea. Anytime you have projectile throwing enemies, or enemies that are guarding each other, you really need to get them out of the way. So let's bring our water Skylander back. That to me says Washbuckler, and here we are back on Washbuckler in his native form. Now this will give us a bonus, I think, in this level. Oh yeah, of course we left Washbuckler with not much energy, and that's what he's come back as. Now I think Washbuckler is out. He needs a rest. So here we go. We need to get another Skylander on the portal if we're going to continue. And a magic element suggests yes, it's Spyro. So here we go. Let's put Spyro in the arena. He's got a bit more energy. He's only level 6 though, so I think we need to take a bit of care here if we're going to progress. Oh nice, so level up. Now when you level up, as you notice there, you get a recharge of all your health, which is going to be quite useful to us here. I'm not sure what difficulty we're playing this demo on. I should think it's probably normal or medium. Once you've played through the game and completed it on hard, you can then play it on the Nightmare, the hardest difficulty level, which gives you a whole other reason to replay. So we're going to press on here. We've got something to do with this, that wheel. Quite a few blocks to push around. So what are we going to do next? Now, can you spot what he has to do before I can? We're moving these blocks around. I think it's going to be this laser we need to use to melt things. Now he's going to move that. I think he needs to move that laser if he's going to get anywhere. So I can't quite see because he's up the top of the screen. It looks like you need to rotate it. Perhaps, yes, if you get the laser onto the middle block, we could then potentially rotate it. Oh yeah, to turn the wheel. There you go. That's one side gone. Another snowman. Got one of two. Now I think what he needs to do is to rotate that laser again, running through the crystal, generating heat and melting the ice to get the ice on the other side. That's one. And he's realised he's going to need to move that block down if he's going to complete. If he's going to melt those other ice blocks, but we'll see if he manages to do that. He's got a bit distracted on the catapults again, I think, which is not a bad thing to do because it's obviously part of the mission. There's 3 to get this time. And I like the way it has this sort of Angry Birds feel. My kids play a lot of Angry Birds on the iPad and more recently on the PlayStation 3. So I think they'll probably quite like this. Pull back. And yes, nice hit. So he's got the one right over the other side now, so he will have held down square for a nice long time. There's some good shooting here. You've got to really judge that quite carefully. That guy's almost dead. Oh, that one just missed. So with it moving up and down, you have to sort of plan your attack. 'Cause by the time your projectile gets there, as you can see, it might be out of the way. That last one finished him off. So back into the level, destroy the blizzard ballers. 3 out of 3, so they're finished. The snowman seemed pretty happy about that. Now there's the progressing next bit of the level. Now if he's an experienced Skylanders player, I think he maybe would want to search the level to make sure that he's got all the money before leaving, but I think he might be tempted to press on. Yep, so he's not gone up. He's not gone up the hill. Oh, that's a shame. I'd love to know what's up there, and he's decided to press on and get on to the next bit of the level. So we're like 27 minutes in. Maybe there's a sort of 4 or 5 minutes left to this, and that's a sort of an average length for Skylanders Swap Force levels, and I think that's quite good because you don't want a level to go on too long, because obviously if you stop halfway through, there aren't save points in these levels. You have to complete them, and so once you've started one, you need to get to the end if you're not going to lose your progress. What you will retain is your progress on your figure, because obviously the stats and the money and all those things are recorded on the figure itself. Now it looks like we've reached the top of this level, which is obviously where we're heading to destruct all these enemies and free our friends, the snow elves, who have been under attack and have been taken over. So we're making light work of them with the press of the square button, and it's bringing us around to the top. I love the way that dragon looks at the top of this tower. It seems to be just circling. Now I wonder how you get off this. Is there something you need to do, or will it just bring around? Oh, there you go. He just jumped off. So at the top of this tower, we've made our way right to the top. Oh, he's left some money. Wish he'd gone back and got that. We can see they're sort of spiralling round, and all the elves are there, happy that we've done this now. But as you might expect, there are a few more enemies to kill now. I suspect this is the area with those 4 doors where we're going to see lots of different enemies coming in to get us, different combinations. And he hasn't got that many different Skylanders to play with here. Much like at home, if you just let a starter kit, it makes it a bit harder because you don't have as many Skylander lives to bring out. So it means if you run out of lives, you're really going to be a bit stuffed. Now I hope he manages to do this to get to the end of the level. Hopefully he'll get some money. Or he's getting better at jumping out of the way. The pressure is on. Oh, nice. That's good timing. So level up, which means he has a whole not only extra power, but also has some extra health. Now, be careful there, mate. You're going to take some missile attacks from these snow throws if you're not careful, because I think that last door is going to have some quite big enemies. Now, I think Skylanders is pretty good at judging difficulty, because obviously a lot of younger people play it. Here comes a big enemy. Look at this. Close up on this door. Who's behind there? Out comes not only a snow gear golem, but also the shoveling. Oh, he's dead. Ah, interesting. So has he got anyone left? Now, as I remember it, they didn't have a whole load of energy left in these other figures. What stage is Countdown? See, Countdown's almost dead too. If he's not careful, I don't think he's going to do it. This is a tense finish to this this level. He's out too. Has he got anyone else? Now, we'll see whether our player manages to actually finish the level. This is back to Rattle Shake. Or whether he's going to run out of energy. So anyway, either way, I think we had a good look at this level. We've seen the end, and we've sort of seen what Skylanders Swap Force has to offer as a whole. So we've seen it in bits before, but this is the time when we've been able to. Yes, he's got him. Is that it? One last snow shovel at level up. I think he's done it. I think that means he's finished the level. Well done, Skylanders. So thankful that he managed to finish it. And as I was saying, I think it's nice to see the whole level laid out so you can see how it would play in the living room. He got all his goals, got some dares, and got some collections. Now, those are the reasons to come back and play it again, to get the rest of those. And you can see some achievements popping up on the right. So there you go. That's our demo of Winter's Keep of Skylanders Swap Force from Gamescom. We'll be back with more from Skylanders Swap Force, more hands-on, more developer interviews. So if you subscribe to the channel, that means we can just send you a little notification when those videos are added. And we're also going to look at some more levels from Gamescom with Skylanders Swap Force. And I think we're going to be seeing the PlayStation 4, a proper playthrough, a hands-on with that version of the game.